Hello, everyone. I hope you're feeling okay and relaxed. But if you're not, then perhaps this short practice that I'm going to lead will be helpful. A lot of people are feeling a bit anxious these days from time to time, and sometimes it's not always that clear why. Sometimes it can really take you by surprise and you just feel this overwhelming sense of uncertainty, dismay, sadness, whatever it is, it's not very nice. So it's very useful to have some sort of practice that you can come to and just allow these sensations to slide away. So the practice is based on breath and some body movements. It's a mindful practice in that we pay attention to the body, how it feels, and then we pay attention to the breath. The body and the breath, which is the movement within the body, brings about a change in the mind. So sometimes we think about the mind as being something that we can take some control of or influence in order for the body to feel better. It doesn't always work, but it's certainly a possible action. This is a little bit different. This is using the body and using the breath to influence the mind. And this is very powerful. So, first of all, I want you to sit. And you can sit on a chair or a sofa, or you can sit on the floor on a cushion. It's up to you. Try to sit with the spine relatively upright and just let the shoulders relax. Notice how you're sitting. Notice the contact of your body to the place where you're sitting, onto the cushion, onto the ground, onto the chair. Just allow that sense of settling, resting. Also the resistance back into your body of whatever you're sitting on. Just notice that. Be aware of it. How does it feel? Notice how the body above the pelvis, where the sitting bones, how does that feel? Is it comfortable? If it's not comfortable, move a little bit and make it more comfortable. Notice how the hands rest, maybe resting on your legs or in your lap. Maybe one hand on top of the other hand, or palms facing down onto your thighs or your knees. How does that feel? How much pressure or weight is exerted by resting the arms, resting the hands. Now traveling further up the body, notice the back. Is it lifted? Is it keeping the shoulders raised, or is it allowing the shoulders and the front body to drop? If you're experiencing this sensation of dropping, can you raise a little higher? Allow the spine to lift. I want you to place the hand, one hand, on the top of your head. Just lightly touch the top of your head. And then remove the hand, but you still may feel the hand impression there, and just grow up into that impression, lifting taller. Feel the shoulders dropping away from the ears. And again, are you comfortable? If you're not comfortable, maybe you need to lean back on something, or maybe you need to change your leg position. It doesn't matter if you're cross-legged or stretching one leg forwards, one foot tucked under the other leg. It's not important. But feel the contact of one part of the body on another part of the body, and the body in contact with your support. Good. Now we're going to raise one arm, but before you do that, just imagine that you're about to raise your arm. What's changed in the body? Have you shifted your weight, or have you tightened any muscles? Have you moved your shoulder? Have you moved your elbow? Just rotated it slightly because we're not lifting the arm yet. Just notice how the movement is going to begin. And with that beginning of the movement, stay with that for a moment, and then allow the arm to lift. Let it come up. It may feel as if something else is raising it, not you. Just whatever it feels like, bring the arm up and stretch up. Hold the arm there for a moment or two. Don't have to keep it straight or reach up. Just hold it lifted to whichever position it feels comfortable. And then bring it down again. But bring it down under control. And again, notice how it moves, how it feels. Bring it back to starting position, resting. We're going to do exactly the same thing with the other arm. So first of all, set the intention that you're going to move your arm. Notice what's changed. Now, slowly allow that arm to rise up. rise up and rest in its raised position. And allow it to come down under control, so you're not dropping the arm, you're bringing it down in a controlled way, perfectly controlled movement, aware of the movement, where the movement comes from, and let it rest. Okay, it was easy, yeah, but it takes concentration. So we're going to now move both arms up. So first of all, prepare. Be aware of how you prepare to raise the arms. What changes? Are you rotating the wrist or the elbow joint? What's happening in the shoulders? And let the arms rise up. And hold that position. And slowly, slowly allow the arms once again to come down. And let the arms rest in a comfortable position, hands resting. This time, as you raise the arms up together, I want you to think about your center. And although you're raising the arms by moving from the shoulders, something may be happening to the center of the body, or something may be happening to the back, or maybe the way you're sitting is affected. So you're just going to notice what's happening. Okay, so prepare and raise the arms. Now, if you like, you can breathe in as you do this. Noticing the inner body, the center line of the body, back or front, where you're sitting. Gluteal muscles perhaps have come into this movement. And bring them down. And let the arms rest. Okay, now with that same lift that you may have experienced, just close your eyes and breathe. Imagine you're raising your arms, but in fact keep the arms resting in the position they're in. And as you exhale, imagine you're lowering your arms. After the next exhalation, when you've imagined that you've brought the arms back to rest, open your eyes. Okay. So we're going to engage the breath more consciously now. And if you're familiar with Ujjayi breathing, it would be very nice to bring that into the practice. So Ujjayi breathing, for those who know it, it's where the breath seems to come from the throat. We breathe through the nose, but there's a sensation of it being from the throat. A way I can perhaps explain this is if you imagine that you have a mirror. You hold the mirror up in front of you, look into the mirror and smile. Good. And then you want to steam up that mirror. So what you would do is, and the mirror would get all steamy. So that steaming action came from the throat. In Ujjayi breathing, it's like that, except that we don't open the mouth. So take a normal breath in. And make that same sound on the exhalation. Let's try it again. Normal breath in. Good. If this is confusing, don't worry, just stay with normal breathing. If you're familiar with Ujjayi breathing and you enjoy it, you can also use Ujjayi for the inhalation as well as the exhalation. So it's breathing through the nose, but there is this sound in the throat. And the sound is rather like the sea, the waves coming in and going out. So this is the technique we're going to use. But as I said, if you find it confusing, either just use the Ujjayi breath for the exhalation, or don't use it at all, just stay with normal breathing, breathing through the nose. So let's close the eyes again. Keep that lift in the body, as if we'd had the arms up in the air. Be aware of how you're sitting. And continue breathing. Listen to your breath. Enjoy your breath. Your breath happens in the present moment. And everything in the present moment is fine. It's all that we own. We don't own the past. We don't own the future. All we own is each present moment. And the present moment is fine. The breath comes in and the breath is released. So allow yourself to breathe in this present moment. If you feel you want to deepen the breath, that's fine, but there should be no strain at all. You should feel very comfortable and very relaxed with the breath. So carry on with the breathing. And what I'm going to ask you to do now is to start to count with the breath. And I want you to count the in-breath for 3 counts and the out-breath for 5 counts. So the out-breath becomes slightly longer than the in-breath. But the breathing is through the nose and it's totally relaxed. Close your eyes or gaze at a point forwards and down, something on the floor. Find out which helps you to concentrate better on your breath. Allow your gaze to be soft if you're keeping the eyes open. You may feel that after the inhalation, you want to pause for a second and then let the breath release. If this seems to come naturally, then that's okay, do that. And if you're doing that, lengthen the exhalation by either 1 or 2 counts. So you could have a situation where you're breathing in for 3, pausing, and breathing out for 6 or for 7. So if this feels comfortable, let's continue with that practice. While you're doing this, just gently place your hands underneath your ribs. So, just here. And if you can see my hands, you'll see that as I breathe in, there's an outwards expansion. There's also an expansion in the back, although that's more difficult sometimes to actually see. If you feel you need to take a break from the breathing, Just return to normal breathing for a few moments and then come back to the Ujjayi breathing or elongated exhalation of breath. You may get to a stage where you feel that you want to rest because it's tiring, or you might feel that you're not getting enough breath. What I would recommend when that happens is that without actually forcing anything, you try to continue without giving in to this need to stop the practice. This is a very important lesson that the body learns. It's learning that we can overcome difficulties. We're not, as I said, we're not going to create tension or anxiety in order to do this, but instead of just saying, oh, well, I'll take a break now because I'm getting a little bit tired of the breathing, just try to stay with it, go with it, continue. You can have the hands on the ribs or rest them on the arms. So while I'm talking, continuous practice. Okay. Now, this time, when you take the breath in, take a normal breath in and bring your right hand across to your left side. And then as you breathe out, turn around to the left. And come back again, breathing in and exhale in the center. Let's do the same thing on the other side. We're moving very slowly. So breathing in, preparing, and turning. And breathing in to come back and exhale in the center. I'd like you to do that twice more on each side. So taking the right hand across. Inhale, come back, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Once more on each side. Feel how the body turns. What happens? What happens to our sitting position? What happens to the way our torso moves? And continue. Now, after the next exhalation, just return to normal breathing again. And I'm going to ask you to come down onto the floor if that's possible. If you're sitting on a sofa like this one behind me, you might actually just turn around and lie down against the cushions on the sofa. What I want you to do is be in a more horizontal position, but I want you to move with attention to how your body is moving. So you're going to do it very slowly, and you're going to break it down into one movement at a time. So from my sitting position now, I will need to decide what is the first movement I'm going to make to take myself into a sitting position, into a lying down position on the floor. So I'm probably going to make a turn and rest and notice. Your breathing in during this action is just perfectly normal. Maybe I'm going to untuck one leg because I was sitting cross-legged. Maybe I'm going to come down in a sideways position and lie on my side, and then bring myself onto my back. If I was on the sofa, I would probably just swing round. I would adjust myself and I would lie back. It's going to take several different actions. I want you to be aware as you make these movements of each stage of this action of lying down into a more horizontal position. So once you're lying down, you can allow your legs to straighten out if you feel that's going to be comfortable. I would suggest one leg at a time, very carefully noticing how the leg straightens, noticing what muscles. You don't have to name the muscles, just feel how the muscles work, how the joints open. Or if you prefer, after having straightened the legs, or even before, you can then bend one leg at a time. So your feet are flat on the floor and your back is resting. And then bring your hands once again to your lower ribs. Settle your head back. Make sure your chin isn't raised, so keep the back of the neck long. And return to the breathing practice. The Ujjayi breathing, if you're still happy with that. Breathing in for 3 counts, or a little longer if you find it comfortable. Pausing for 1 count, and then the elongated exhalation of breath. If your mind wanders, okay, it's quite normal, it happens. We take ourselves off into the past or the present, but we don't own that. Come back to what you own. Sorry, we take our minds back into the past or into the future. We don't own those, but we do own our present moment. So bring your mind back to the present moment and continue with the breathing. So elongation of the exhalation activates the parasympathetic nervous system. And this is the part of the nervous system that helps us to be calm. The inhalation is activating the sympathetic nervous system, and this is the flight or fight. It's action, it's about action, and it's a good thing. We need to do it, we need to breathe in, we need to energize. But when you're feeling anxious, then you need to focus on strengthening and allowing the parasympathetic nervous system to take more control again, to be more effective. And this will bring on a calmer state of mind. If you want to follow this practice at night before going to sleep, that's quite a good idea. I would suggest you don't have the video on, just use the audio. And after a while, you won't need to listen to me anyway. You'll find it's very simple, something you can practice completely on your own. But looking at screens is not a good way to end your evening or before sleeping. So this is all very, very simple. I'm not saying that it's simple to solve all the difficulties that we have in our lives, but using this technique will help. It does help. Moving the body with awareness and mindfulness is a nice way in to bringing the breath into our practice. And the breath is so powerful. So, whenever you want to, just allow the breath to soften. Allow the breath to become normal again through the nose. Light, soft. When you're relaxed, you actually don't need to take in a lot of breath, a lot of air. So the breathing may become quite light and smooth. And just keep your attention on this flow of breath, of prana. And allow your body to melt, to release to the earth. But at the same time, you feel the support. You feel that resistance from underneath as our body settles. This is sometimes known as grounding. We need to be grounded to the earth. And then let everything soften. So I hope this was helpful. Namaste.